Alright, hello everybody. I am Mr. Hammontree and I'm going to go over how to do one-step equations. You need to get out a sheet of paper so that you can copy down the questions the examples that we're doing, along with all the steps that I'm going to go over with you. So go ahead and get out a sheet of paper if you don't have one out already, so that you can follow along. You will need to give this paper to your math teacher tomorrow to ask for it in class to show that you've actually done the work you're supposed to have done. Alright? So hopefully by now you've got your sheet of paper out. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, with one-step equations, the main thing you have to remember is that you want to get the variable by itself. In these problems I went ahead and just chose x. The variable is the unknown number that you're trying to find out. So on the first problem, we're looking at a multiplication problem. You're looking at what's happening between the variable and the number that's on the same side of the equal sign. In this case, the number we're using is -2 along with the variable. And it's multiplication. It's -2 times x. So we've got to get rid of the -2, and with multiplication, you have to do the opposite operation. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Well, it's division. So we have to divide both sides by -2. -2 divided by -2 is 1, which is what we're looking for. We want to know what 1x equals. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Right? So on number 1, in this case, x is going to equal 4. And you can always check that. I'm just going to show you this once. You can always check it by replacing the variable or the unknown with what you found it to be. So we said it's 4. So -2 times 4 is -8. So it does check. And you can do that with any problem you have where you're finding the variable. Just replace the variable with the number that you found and you can check your answer. Alright, let's move on. Our next problem is addition. It's -6 plus x. Again, we need to get x by itself, so we need to get rid of this -6. Well, what we've learned earlier is to box up our integers. So when we have addition or subtraction, we box up our integers. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to box that integer up, and we need to move it to the other side of the equal sign. Well, since 6 is larger than 2, just in case we have to subtract those two, go ahead and move the larger number to the top. So in this case, 6 is larger than 2, so I'm going to move the 6 to the other side as its opposite. So the opposite of -6 is 6. It's a positive 6. So then we look at our integer rules again. Same signs, add, keep the same sign. So in this case, x equals 8. And if you want to go back and check, then you can go ahead and do that. Alright, moving on to problem 3. This is our division problem. We have x divided by 6. We have to get rid of that 6 so we get x by itself. Well, division and multiplication basically are the same rules. You do the opposite operation to get rid of the number. So the opposite operation of division is multiplication. And since this is a fraction, I'm going to multiply it by a fraction. The 6's will cancel out, leaving me just the x on this side, which again is our goal. So if I multiply this side by 6, I need to multiply this side by 6 to maintain equality in the problem. Negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 2 is 12. So x equals -12 for number 3. Alright, and then our last one. Alright, we've already done multiplication, addition, division. Now we're to subtraction. We have x minus 8. Again, we have to get x by itself. Addition and subtraction are basically the same type of problem. Again, we're going to box up our integer. In this case, we're going to box up the -8. And once we box it up, it becomes -8. We have to move it to the other side, just like we did with addition. And in this case, 8 is smaller than 12, so I'm going to move it down here in case we have to subtract the two numbers. So we move it as its opposite, so instead of -8, we move it as 8. Since these are both positive numbers, same add, we end up with 20. Keep the same sign, so it's positive 20, and now x is by itself. So in number 4, x is going to equal 20. All right? Those are the 4 problems, or 4 types of problems you're going to run into with one-step equations. Multiplication, addition, division, and subtraction. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure that you have all this filled out, ready for your teacher to see tomorrow. And if you have any further questions, feel free to ask your teacher. All right? Hopefully this was helpful, and we'll see you tomorrow.